Today, I will present Alive, a South Korean vampire film set to release in 2020. Spoilers ahead, be cautious and watchful. Jun-woo awakens alone in the upper floor residence of his family. He finds a note from his mother informing him that every member of the family has departed, and that there is little food in the pantry, instructing him to go shopping. Jun-woo launches a video game and begins broadcasting. His gaming is interrupted when his playmates bring up current events. Jun-woo examines the television and sees numerous reports of violent behavior and assaults. As he watches the news, he hears the commotion outside and sees people fleeing and screaming, with some biting and scratching each other violently. Also hearing sounds emerging from the passageway. A man enters Jun-woo's flat claiming to be a neighbor after he examines the doorbell. Jun-woo requests his departure, but he refuses. Jun-woo grabs a knife and notices that his neighbor's eyes have begun to bleed, signifying that he is infected and will soon begin to change. In a matter of seconds, the neighbor begins to growl and attacks Jun-woo. Despite his efforts, Jun-woo is able to force his neighbor out the door, where an infected individual consumes him. The refrigerator is used to block the door while Jun-woo observes the news. He receives communications from his mother informing him that they, too, are hiding, but he is unable to contact them due to poor reception. He prepares to survive by rationing the remaining nutrition he possesses. The following day, he discovers from the news that the infected are cannibalistic and must be avoided. The virus is transmitted through bites or stab incisions that result in blood contact. Then, Jun-woo uploads a photo of himself at his location to social media in the hope that someone will see it. He places his smartphone on a small drone and flies it upwards in an attempt to obtain reception. This concept fails because his drone lacks sufficient battery power. Jun-woo observes a police officer fighting off infected while running through the streets, but is shortly overcome. Jun-woo attempts to contact the police officer but is unsuccessful. He hears the sound arising from the blocked door and observes that an infected individual has managed to enter. The infected attempt to press the refrigerator barricade, forcing Jun-woo to ascend to the balcony. The infected who are pursuing him run after him but tumble over the edge. A few days pass, and Jun-woo begins imbibing alcohol to stay hydrated. The news informs him that the infected have retained some intelligence, as they are able to perform simple duties such as opening doors. Some are even able to recall professional skills, according to reports. 2 weeks pass, and Jun-woo is now drunk and dancing around. He hallucinates that his family has returned from their vacation, and he embraces his mother. He awakens from his slumber and begins to weep. Later, he attempts to gain reception by extending his smartphone from the balcony using a selfie stick. Finally, he reaches out and receives a voicemail from his family. He listens to the recording and discovers that his mother, father, and sister are all concealed in his father's office. Jun-woo is distressed to hear his mother's message degenerate into screams and sobs. Not knowing what else to do, he listens to his family, is devoured alive, and dies at the hands of the infected. Jun-woo snatches a golf club and charges the corridor filled with infected. He attempts to attack as many of them as possible while cursing and yelling at them. The commotion attracts more infected, and Jun-woo is swiftly overrun. He recovers from his wrath and realizes he must return. He is able to cover up and sneak back into his apartment after sneaking past a few infected individuals along the hallway. On day 20, he witnesses pyrotechnics in the metropolitan area and the loss of power and water. Left without any food, water, or family, Jun-woo chooses to end his existence. He constructs a noose from cables and ties himself in the living room. As he attempts to free himself from the noose, he sees a laser light shining at him from an apartment in the adjacent building. Eventually, he collapses to the ground. He dashes to the window and sees a woman observing him with binoculars. He waves at the woman, and she returns the gesture. A woman looks through her binoculars at a man who has just attempted suicide. She hears a noise emanating from outside her entryway and prepares to activate a makeshift trap she constructed in the event that the infected breach her defenses. She falls asleep as the din abates. Jun-woo awakes the following day and searches for Ben. They exchange names using their mobile devices, but their conversation is interrupted when an infected approaches Hyubin's flat. It is swiftly dispatched with an axe after being caught in her trap. The following day, Hyubin observes that Jun-woo is hungry and attempts to cast a rope to his flat. It descends to the ground in the midst of an infected crowd. This prompts Jun-woo to retrieve his drone and fly rope to Hyubin's residence. With a physical connection, Hyubin sent Jun-woo some meal, for which he expresses gratitude. As he consumes, He observes the rope you threw earlier and an infected firefighter using it to ascend. As the firefighter pulls the table, the rope flies across the room, striking Yubin and rendering her unconscious. Jun-woo scatters in order to launch his drone and push the firefighter off the rope. The drone is destroyed despite his best efforts to distract the infected individual ascending the wall. Just as the firefighter reaches the balcony of Yubin, she arrives and uses an axe to slash the fireman's hand off. The following evening, Jun-woo travels to his neighbor in quest of food and supplies. He makes it to the flat next door, where he discovers climbing and camping equipment. Upon recognizing that his neighbor was a passionate hiker, his neighbor attacks him as he is retrieving the food, and a struggle ensues. Jun-woo defends himself and manages to escape. From the flat, he obtained additional provisions, and various provisions, including 2 walkie-talkies. Using the rope connection, he dispatches one to Yubin, and the two start talking through them. The pair eats together. Together with Yubin, they realize they enjoy the same foods. Thank you, Yubin, for sparing Jun-woo's life. Yubin declines to accept credit, stating that she did not save his life and that he saved his own life by choosing to survive. It is revealed that Yubin also attempted suicide, with a broken piece of news hanging from her ceiling. A few days later, the infected populating the streets begin to flee and enter the buildings. The infected seek for survivors by running through the corridors. They are encountered. Yubin observes that the 8th floor of Jun-woo's building is the most peaceful and decides that this is where they should go. Yubin flees to the streets and discovers a firearm. She battles the infected and is nearly overcome by them, but Jun-woo appears and the two proceed to the 8th floor. They confront a group of infected on the 8th floor and become trapped at the end of a hallway. A door miraculously opens, and a man appears to save them from the infected. They share a meal at the man's flat. He informs them that he heard radio chatter about rescue teams and that they will soon be rescued. During the meal, Yubin notices a photograph of a couple and their child, as well as milk bottles, but no sign of the child. She questions the man where his child is, but he replies that he has none. Soon, Jun-woo faints and Yubin realizes that they have been poisoned, and the man is not who he claims to be. The man rises and drags Yubin to the room where his infected wife is waiting. The man expresses gratitude for their presence, as his wife had gone without food for days. He confines Yubin and his wife by locking the door behind them. Jun-woo stands up, points the gun at the man, and threatens to fire if he doesn't let Yubin go. The man gives up the rope that was restraining his wife, and Jun dives for the rope, dropping his gun. Yubin is heard shrieking as the man bargains with Jun-woo, stating that he will allow him to live as long as Yubin is still alive. The screams within the room cease, and Jun assumes the worst. The man unlocks the door, opening it to reveal Yubin covering his wife's face with a blanket and releasing her upon him. As the wound bites the man's neck, Yubin shoots them both, but the gunfire attracts the horde of infected. With no other option, Yubin determines that they must commit suicide. Jun-woo complies and compels himself to aim the gun at Yubin before the horde arrives. As he is about to release the trigger, they hear passing helicopters. They rapidly ascend to the roof with the infected, closely following them. As the horde of infected burst through the front door, a helicopter appears and soldiers begin firing at the encircled duo. The two hurriedly board the helicopter and take off. As they depart, Jun-woo receives reception and discovers that a significant portion of the metropolitan area has been infected, with an estimated 50,000 individuals infected. Additionally, he notices that many of the survivors have posted their photographs and locations on social media, much like he did, and that rescue teams are using this information to locate and save them. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to Film Insider and click the bell icon.